And we are back at the National North American Scrabble Championship in Reno, Nevada. We're about to start round 30 in a few minutes here, which is the last game before the best of 3 championship match. And we're going to watch the top board of the CSW, or International English Language Scrabble competition. So what happened in round 29 was Jesse Day won his game and clinched a spot in the best of 3 final. And we are watching the match between the 2 and 3 players right now, who are Austin Shin and Josh Castellano. Austin has a game lead and considerable spread advantage over Josh Castellano, which means that Josh needs to win this game by 228 points to tie Austin, or by 229 to beat him. I believe they are going to have to draw tiles to decide who goes first. And Chris Grubb is again here with me in Seattle, doing the live commentary.
Hello, world.
So, for those who don't know, Austin Shin is one of the best players in the world from England. He lived in the Milton Keynes area just outside of London for a long time, but he married an American Scrabble player and moved to New Orleans just very recently. So he is a new big addition to the American Scrabble scene. I've had the good fortune to play many games against Austin, both in England and here, and he is a terrifically strong player. Uh, his opponent, Josh Castellano, a younger fellow who I think just graduated college, actually comes from the Washington, D.C. area where I used to live, and I played against him a number of times there. And Josh was, for many years, not nearly as high ranked as a player as Austin, but Josh has been really coming on strong in just the last couple of years. Clearly had more time and effort putting into working in Scrabble and had some great results in moving up that ladder. So we were told that Austin Shin is sitting on the right-hand side. I don't know if they've actually drawn the tiles yet. Side goes first. They may be about to do that right now. Looks like Josh has just drawn the blank to decide who goes first. So it is very likely, unless Austin draws the other blank, that he will be going first. And looks like Austin is now mixing up the tiles and allowing Josh to draw first in just a minute, and we're going to be underway.
Okay, players are drawing their racks.
Sure. I've just gotten feedback also to type scores in on the YouTube channel, so I will make an effort to do that while this is going on as well.
Okay, I will announce the scores as they come.
And Josh has started out with a draw of ADEEOOT and traded OOE, which I think is a very good way of playing. I actually very much favor this kind of style of don't dink a few points, but play off just trade here and leave yourself a good bingo leave, which also prolongs the game so that after you get your bingo, you're on more turns to get more bingo since he is going to need a lot of points. Jesse has a very natural play. Not Jesse. Austin has a very natural play of Hoori, which he is opening up with here. Getting a quick score to open and cleaning up that rack nicely, leaving RD. So I think it's 24-0 if I'm counting right.
24 it is, yes.
And now let's see. Josh has drawn ADEIRTU, it looks like. I'm looking around to see if he has a bingo. I don't think he quite does. He doesn't have the right consonant to play with that. Muriated, for instance, with an M would make a bingo there, or durative with a V.
Correct you are. So we'll probably see him fish on this play.
So this is where I think early in the game you really want to be thinking about board shape. You're not going to score a ton on this turn, but you want to do things that are not just about getting one bingo down, but about shaping the board in such a way that there will be multiple chances for bingos later. Be interesting to see how Josh handles that problem here.
The computer is suggesting to set up duh, which seems like a reasonable choice.
Dropping the U and UH is a totally reasonable way to fish. I don't really care that much about what the computer thinks at this point because of the spread situation. If it were a 0-0 game without spread didn't matter, I would do that more. But at this point, playing to shape the board a particular way is a higher concern than exactly what the computer thinks here. That being said, UH is a reasonable fish, but there might be other things too. He's looking at re-audit, which is unfortunately not good. I think he knows that and is just fishing around. Pre-audit is good with the P, but not re-audit.
Yeah, naturally, Josh realizes he's probably going to need multiple bingos in this game in order to win. So he is going to be going for an open style, as David mentioned earlier. So, how is he going to approach this play?
Mm.
Meanwhile, Austin's first rack
Yeah.
has got some heavy hitters on it.
So for instance, like if you draw UH, that's a very natural play because it doesn't take a lot of front hooks. You have the DUH possibility, but the other problem with that is that he'd actually be setting up Austin's X quite nicely on the XU spot to make play going down. So that could backfire on him.
Yeah. In fact, he's probably thinking a couple of well, he doesn't know that the U might be coming down, but if you're thinking another step ahead, that would put he played docs or ox, that would put the O next to the triple letter score, which would then set up as J. But that's not what happens. Looks like we've got Hui coming down.
So Hui is an interesting choice. Part of what he's doing here is creating some lanes, but he's also setting up the Huia hook so that he could get a bingo onto the double word lane there.
I like that decision.
Mm-hmm. See, one potential advantage of that is that if he drew a bingo that took an S hook, he could play it one short of the double word, going from starting with Huia going across that way and create a lot of volatility on the board. So Jor comes down, and what's the score now?
So that makes it 51-6 in Austin's favor.
So unfortunately for Josh, it looks like he may have drawn too many vowels here and not quite have a way to bingo, which is going to put him in, again, a fisherman situation. But having been in these situations myself, I can say that it's not the end of the world. You need to, again, start creating more openings. So part of what I would look to do here is maybe hook off JO, that type of thing, or JOE, just to create other openings in addition to the Huia hook, so that you will hopefully get a bingo on the next turn, but still have a board where there will be some other nice spots for bingos after that bingo goes down. And he's playing Doer. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. It keeps the very flexible AERT sort of is a halfway in between play. It's not totally a fish, still making sure he gets some points while also shaping the board. So one thing about this play is that it does invite some plays down to the triple, or down from the triple in the middle of the top of the board, which might score well for Austin. But the counter reasoning there is that a play there will also open up more board shape for lots of bingos in the future.
Okay, 51-24 is the score.
And in fact, Josh has now drawn his bingo rack of Aronite, Retinite, Trainee, among other things, Detainer off the D. So we will definitely see a bingo for him on the next turn, barring something really crazy happening on the board. But the question is, how can Austin press in this situation? So he's got a lot of heavy consonants. He's not going to be bingoing himself quite soon, even though he's at that blank. But what he wants to do is start scoring and getting this rack managed so that he can get a bingo down soon enough. So he's looking at box. Where does he want to play that? Oh, in box. Nice play. Yeah, so this does a few things. It scores well. It keeps him a very good bingo leave. The DP blank, he has a good chance to draw a bingo on there. It also sort of cuts down the flexibility of that Huia hook to get bingos down in that particular spot of the board.
Makes the score 73 to 24 in Austin's favor. Okay, and it looks like Austin will probably be bingoing next turn as well if he gets a open spot. He has
Yes, he's going to
deploy
have
and a blank.
deploys or podleys, the anagram of deploys. Um, so, yes, we are likely to see a pretty high-scoring offensive game here, it looks like. So Josh just has a detainer off the D. I'm trying to see if he has anything else here.
Looks like that is the only one. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
bingo he can do.
And in fact, detainer is coming down. So he's going to temporarily be very happy that he's back in this game until he sees Austin hitting him possibly with something here.
Yeah, deploys or podleys almost fits as a parallel over detainer.
Oh, on top of detainer, yeah, the SR is the only problem there. That would be a very nice fit. Um, so I have a feeling that bingoing is going to be best here, but there's actually an option of making a play like just deploy holding the blank. I would at least count the points on that and see whether it was worth doing. But I have a feeling that bingoing is probably going to be the right way to do this here. So deployed for himself through the E or redeploy is a possibility. Um, redeploy, actually going up starting at row 2, might be a good way to do it because that would double the Y and double the word. It does set up an O in the triple lane there, but I'm not too afraid of that. I want to go for my own points in these kind of situations.
There is one standout play which jumps to the top of the evaluation, which is a double-double, the pedology for 102. If Austin can find that, which I think is definitely within his ability level,
Ooh.
is not uncommon to, when you see that LOY on your rack, think of ology words.
Oh yeah, pedology is double double is a very
Pedology,
nice
would that
play
be
there.
the study of feet?
Yeah, that'd be study of children,
Or the
like pediatrics, that kind of thing.
yes, what would you call a foot doctor then?
Hmm. That's a podiatrist, right?
Podiatrist. Oh, okay, yes. Let's keep those straight.
So I think the POD is the Greek, whereas the PED is the Latin, and the ology is the Latin suffix there, or sorry, the Greek suffix rather. So that's why you would have podology, I guess, if it was the study of feet. And in fact, yes, podology is a good word. I wasn't sure about that one. So Josh is looking at a lot of duplicates now with all that C's and I's there. He does have acidic. Of course, it's not his turn yet. He's got to wait to see what Austin does, but he'll have ways to clean that up.
Yeah, I believe is diacidic good if he gets a D?
I Yes, and Austin does have a D right now. I don't know if he's going to play it in a place where he would be able to get it down, but that would be a very nice thing for him if he got it. And he is in fact playing the play I suggested earlier, deploy holding the blank. That is an interesting choice. What does it score?
Let's see. That will put the score at 123 to 92 in Austin's favor. It's gotten a little bit closer since
So
Josh's bingo, but it wasn't a huge bingo. This
so it
is
was
the
73
conservative
points.
choice.
So it was 73 points with that. He scored exactly 50 on deploy.
Exactly 50, correct.
Yeah,
Pretty
this is
good.
an interesting choice. So my guess is he didn't see pedology. I think for a lower scoring bingo, this is worth it. But if he actually sees pedology, it's probably better to take the points for that.
Deploy is a reasonable defensive play. Only an O or an I goes in front of the DE.
So Pedology, how many points? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 26, 52, 102, I think? Or am I miscounting that?
Sorry, what's the question?
All right, acidic is coming down anyway here. And now this is actually really funny because it's playing right into Austin's hands with the blank in hand. He's going to have some big plays possibly to the triple here. Still, I mean, it's given the game situation, the fact that Josh needs to win by a lot, it's a very logical way to play. He's making the board super dynamic, opening up the triple line, opening up the hooks on row B, like making RAI, SAI, TAI for bingos there. So absolutely a logical thing to do in this situation. It just happens to be that Austin is very well prepared for it. So
Okay, do you see any triple triples? Winter-ite is the first bingo that jumps out at me, but there's probably better ones.
so Tunicate is good, but it doesn't have the C in the right spot. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that
He looks like he
actually.
found one. Yes, he did.
Taciturn. Yes. So given that Austin already had a 228-point cushion to play with here, and he's the one hitting the triple triple, it looks like he is in very good shape now to actually make it to the final match against Jesse Day.
Yes, taciturn urticant is a bingo pair.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's also urticate, a verb. So what is the score after taciturn?
Well, that will move Austin up to 263 to 116 for Josh. He must be shaking his head at this moment. But he knew what he was getting into. He knew that his chances of
Yep.
coming out and making it to the finals in this game were not good, even in the best of circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some composure about these things in Scrabble. You take a risk, you open a triple triple, it is the right thing to do in the situation. It does mean that you'll occasionally get burned, and it doesn't mean that you made the wrong choice just because it happened to not work out in that particular game situation. So now Austin's up by about 250, but given that he had the 228-point cushion, we're talking about a nearly 500, 470-ish effective lead. So at this point, it is highly unlikely that Josh is going to be able to come back. And at the same time, though, as we said, Josh is sort of new to getting up to this level. He's had a great tournament, and he still, just out of pride, wants to play a good game. And I often find in these situations, I sort of just get to a point of acceptance of, okay, this wasn't my game. I'm not meant to win this tournament, make it to the finals, but still want to play a good game the rest of the way, make good plays, good scores, and not have to worry about the overall result. That's one of the nice things about Scrabble, is that regardless of the overall result of the game, there's always the challenge of just finding good plays on any given turn.
Yes. Any interesting plays jump out at you yet?
So it looks like Josh is looking at Shawl making Detainer, which is totally reasonable.
Yes, almost Kawali's, Qawwlis, if he
Yes,
had just a slightly different letters, but
a very rare word. I think it's also something to be said for just playing QI off of the ID and acidic, because he retains Shawl for the next turn, and those are pretty strong letters that could draw some bingos. For instance, whalers, that kind of thing. So he's hoping in that case, which is the case, that the Shawl spot will stick around. But he's playing Shawl himself now, taking the points, which is, again, totally reasonable. And another argument for that is that if he draws a U or an A, it actually could help him score with that Q through the I in acidic, making QAID, QUID, that kind of play. Um, so let's see what happens here.
okay, that brings Josh up to 159 to Austin's 263.
And Austin knows what to do here, and he is playing no for a massive score. That's a very nice spot, doing 30 points for the K, and lots of other plays as well. So I don't know whether deploy actually works out in terms of the overall point score. My guess is it's too much of a point sacrifice if he saw pedology, but the benefits of scoring well, holding that blank, which helped him get the triple triple, and then continuing to pound on that lane with all the parallel plays has really worked out well for Austin here. And now Josh is on one of these racks where he just regrets having that cue. It's just stopping him from bingoing.
So
But
there's a
one
few
option is
spots
to
where you can
play.
dump it off for 20 something points.
Yeah, he could play it off the ID and acidic, or he could play off the top QI, making IDE. I'm not sure whether you want to do that just because he might want to keep the IDE ODE hook there for bingos or other plays up there. Oh, he is taking it. I guess the other reasoning there is it actually creates another lane. In fact, best case scenario for him is something like draw a B, get a B starting bingo with a bide, and then set up an abide hook, that kind of thing. So
Yes, he
he's
does have an N and an S, so he could try Nide to set up Snide as well.
oh yeah, that's another possibility there. So he has N seals. No, he doesn't have N seals. He has two N's, not two S's. Sorry. Um, so Austin is sitting there with the duplicate V's now and wants to clean that rack up and score some points. He almost he doesn't have Evove, EVOVAE, and I think that is what he is setting up here. So I like that play a lot, not only because it dumps both V's and clears out a lot of vowels, but also because it takes away the double lane from his opponent, which is one of the ways Josh could get himself back in this. Well, that's all relative, of course. We know he's not going to get a 500-point comeback at this point, but just playing good
Yes.
Scrabble, you want to take those spots away from your opponent when you have the lead.
Also turns over a number of tiles, gets the game
Mm-hmm.
closer to the end. I don't know if you think about saving mental energy in situations like this when you're getting prepped for a
Mm-hmm.
final, but
Oh, something we said, yeah, and end the game quickly so you have more energy for the next
yeah,
game.
yes.
So let's see. Does Josh actually have a bingo here? He would have Selenian if he had an I to play through, but he doesn't quite have that. A Niels with another A to play through. Does that fit? No, it doesn't quite fit, unfortunately. Let's see. Oh, I think I had the wrong letters for that anyway. There's only one A and E and a Niels, right?
And Niels,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, it looks like there aren't any bingos on the board available.
yeah, so one
Again,
thing to do here is just consider dropping an N to make Nide and the Snide hook, for instance. Now, of course, that would actually work out very well for Austin, who's sitting there with the S bingo himself.
everything seems to be working out well for Austin this game.
Yeah.
He has expanded his lead to 158 points.
Hmm.
Even his clunky tiles seem to be scoring well.
Yeah.
And he is sitting on a bingo of his own again.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Josh's play of QI actually gave him the spot for it for making side. If that were not on the board, I don't think Spurd would actually play. And it's just sort of one of those fate things that Josh made what were reasonable decisions given the game situation, but it seems like the tiles have played it right into Austin's hands.
Yeah, one of the top suggestions for Josh from the computer is just to play QIN, making net up top.
Yeah, the problem with that is you're killing one of your bingo lanes, which it turns out again is actually a good thing here because it takes away Austin's bingo. But given that you're trailing by all these points and want to get back in it, it's not the kind of thing you would do here.
Yes, I would be very curious to see how that Nide hook sims against some of the other plays.
It's not really a question of simming in these situations, right? It's a question of you're desperate, you need something to go in
Yeah,
your favor. All right. He just dumps off an NE, um, keeping good letters for a bingo and also taking away easy high consonant plays that would just milk the lead even more. And now he has enables, Balines, so he might be able to get some bingos, but not in time before Austin hits Spurred. So yes, we will see Josh respond to this with a bingo of his own with enables, but at this point the lead is far too big so that even Josh's bingo is not going to really give him any real chance here. So what's the score after Spurred?
after Spurred, we have a 421 to 195 advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Austin is already over 400 at this point. So now Josh is just thinking about it in terms of making this respectable.
The anagram of enables is Balines, which I do not think
Mhm.
fits anywhere. Well, actually, no, SAI is good, so he could play on that row, but he won't.
So there's the aside hook here, but it doesn't actually quite fit with his bingos. So I think Josh is thinking about after he gets his bingo down, how does he want the board to be shaped to give himself maximum chances for more? So that's why he's taking a little time here, figuring out the best place to place it. One possibility is the SAI, possibly on the left. Another is what he's doing on the right over here.
One possible downside of playing here is it does close down two bingo lanes, or at least makes them harder to use.
Yeah, I mean, playing enables also would take away the T spot, and no matter what, there's going to be some filling up of space here. Don't forget that Evove takes an S as well, so if
Hmm.
there is another S to draw, which I think there's one more, there is still a lane there. And that's one argument for his placement there rather than off of the N and Taciturn, which would have interfered with the Evove's hook as a bingo lane.
Indeed, there is one S still unseen.
Hmm. And now Austin has a Faggly rack, which is not a word. Fagggy is a word as an adjective, but it does not make the adverbial form of ILY. So if I were Austin, I would probably just be looking to take out that side spot.
Yeah, with something like Giga.
Which still reads, FLY, which can score well on the following turns, for instance. So, for instance, like Josh could play Zuia, burning the blank to make ZOOEA with a side if that spot were not taken away, which scores essentially equivalently to a bingo.
Which would be somewhere in the vicinity of 90 points, better than
Hmm.
a bingo.
Yep.
Though he does also just have Zoa and Zaw off of Evove.
Yeah. Josh is going to score no matter what, but the point is that Austin wants to take out the most promising lanes and that can burn him the most. See, what Josh really wishes in this situation is that the Taciturn were spelled the other way around with the N in the bottom left corner, so he could play Armozine to the triple.
Mm.
That would triple it and double the Z. That's the kind of crazy play he would need to get back into something like this. But in fact, Austin does what we expected, played Giga, took out the aside front hook. Now there's a good chance he'll cash in the Z above the A and Evove, for instance, which gets a quick
Yeah.
60-ish something with the Z there, and still leaves himself very good bingos. Now keep in mind, he can play just ZE if he wants, a new addition that was just added to the dictionary. He may want to play the extra vowel off. ZEA looks like a very reasonable way of doing that.
Yes, despite Austin's lead, this is still a winnable game for Josh.
Yeah, and that's something to consider too. Obviously, Josh knows he's not going to the final at this point, but in terms of ratings, all that matters is wins and losses, not the actual spread. So if Josh is thinking about this purely in terms of I can't make the final, but I'd like to beat Austin, I'd like to gain the rating points from that, he may just forget about the spread and the 228-point thing at this point and just say, I'm just going to play this game to try to come back in this game.
Yes, I don't know if his final spot in the standings is at stake. I suppose it is. I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's also
the
another thing to consider.
cash
Yeah,
prize
the
is.
wins and the spread are all important overall in standings, whether or not you're in the final match. So do we have a score update?
Yeah, current score 421 for Austin, 269 for Josh.
Did you not score Giga yet for Austin?
Oh, has he already played that?
Hmm.
Well, let me update accordingly. That will extend Austin's lead to 457. So Josh is going to need a string of good fortune if he wants to make this a game, but
So
he
it's
does have a
457 for
good play coming
Austin,
up.
and how much for Josh after Zoa that he just played?
After Zoa, Austin has 334.
Josh has 334.
Josh has 334, excuse me, yes.
All right. So it's still a 120-point deficit, but keep in mind that Josh does have the blank now, and one thing he actually has is Metif, METIF, making the underlap of GI and IF, which scores a lot and keeps the blank. That's the kind of play that could actually give him a comeback chance. And in fact, Let's see if he's lining it up or not. No, he's just alphabetizing his letters at this point. Austin's looking at Elyart. Where does he want to play that? Making TAI to try to kill some of those lanes, possibly?
Oh, it
No. Oh,
fits
he has a
nicely
big
there.
score for it over here. Beautiful. Really beautiful play from Austin. Doubling the Y in both directions, making the tricky ST there. And that scores a lot of points. How much is Elyart there?
59.
59. So that's going to take Austin up to 16 now, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
There is actually a bingo
Yes.
available. I did not know this one.
Femitur is playable, but depending on how many letters are left in the bag, it might actually be better to play Metif first and hold the blank.
I agree.
So let's see, Metif would score 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 36. It would score like 50-ish points.
Did you say that there was letters left in the bag? I think there is.
Oh, no, they're not.
There is not.
It
Yeah.
is empty.
Yeah, so if he sees
So, yeah.
Femitur, he should play that.
Yes. So in this case, Femitur is the right way to go because he will not only go out, but leave Austin with a bunch of points on his rack.
Yes, in fact, that would cut it to less than a 100-point loss, which is respectable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, considering how hot a start Austin had and that he had the triple-triple. So I do believe, although I don't remember for sure, that Femitur may be Collins only, and I know Josh is relatively new to Collins, so not sure whether that
Yes,
would be
I'm
something he would have studied a lot
quite
yet.
certain. Not particularly high probability. Anyone know what it means?
Well, from looking on Ziziva, I do. It is a plant. Once used to treat scurvy, apparently.
Yes, as in King Lear crowned with rank Fimitor,
Mm-hmm.
related to the word fumitory.
Mm-hmm.
Which
some really nice plays by Austin in this game. The deploy, 6-letter overlap, holding the blank. No underlapping later, and then Elyart. Got a lot of points with those plays. And also the inbox cleanup really worked out well for him in terms of getting into his bingo.
Yes, I need to clean up my inbox as well.
Well played, Chris. That joke seems well.
You see that joke seems well?
That's indeed what I said.
I am amused.
So he has lined up Femitor. It looks like he sees it and is probably going to play it to go out here. He's also considering Matif. Maybe he's unsure of Femitor. Very strange that he would hold the blank there. I guess he figures he's or play the blank. He's going to score more with EE on the next turn.
Yeah, there may be some spread calculations going into this, trying to reduce risk.
Yeah, I'm guessing he wants to play VEE on the next turn, making X is probably the place to go out there he's looking at.
So Matif comes down, making the score 516 to 386 in
Or,
Austin's favor.
I suppose it's also possible he made motif and didn't know metif was a word with an E.
We don't know, yes. Either one is as good as another.
Yeah.
Possibly one may, I don't know if Austin is planning to play in that corner. It could have
Mhm.
some defensive edge, but not going to be a large amount.
It's just a matter of mathing it out at this point. But now he's going to play, I'm guessing, VEE and EX as his outplay, or does he have something else up top? 16 points for VEE. I don't think he's scoring as much in the other spots he's looking right now. Looks like he's trying to count up points in a few places. It looks like Austin's already shown him his tiles, is just being gentlemanly about it, and VEE is coming down.
Okay.
So what's the final score here?
Final score is give me one moment. 545 for Austin, 410 for Josh.
545 to 410. Austin wins over Josh. Got it.
Another
So yeah,
exciting, high-scoring game. Not much
yeah,
drama as far as the outcome, but
we definitely
some
got our
interesting
offense in.
words
Yeah.
here. Yes.
So it looks like it's going to be Jesse Day versus Austin Shin for a best of 3 finals. I think they're using a bit of an unusual format this year where the rest of the crowd still plays a round 31 during the first game of the finals, but then hopefully we'll actually be able to be observers of that rest of that final match after that. Unfortunately, I do have to leave you now and get back to work, but I believe we have a real treat coming up for the CSW final. We're going to have the 2017 World Champion David Eldar on the live broadcast doing commentary. So signing off here in Seattle. It has been fun.
Stay tuned.